So this is the Google Pixel 11. Now it does look a lot like the Google Pixel 10 from last year, though we do have a few changes here on the design side. So the first thing you'll probably notice is that the bezels are a lot thinner this year versus the Google Pixel 10. Now one thing to note about that is with these CADs, smaller details like bezel sizes could be off, but if this is actually how thin the bezel is this year, that's going to be a huge upgrade, because in the Pixel 10 they were quite thick, especially compared to other $700 smartphones on the market. The other design change is going to be with that camera bar. So previously the portion around the flash was the same color as the body. This year it looks like the entire camera bar is going to be black, but just the border being the color of the body. Now as far as dimensions go, it'll be 152.8 millimeters by 72 millimeters by 8.5 millimeters, which is virtually identical to last year's Google Pixel 10, though it is a little bit thinner at 8.5 millimeters as the Pixel 10 was 8.6. It'll still have that 6.3 inch display, likely LTPO AMOLED display, 90 Hz LTPO. So, there's not a lot of upgrades there on the display side. And internally, we are still expecting to have the Tensor G6 processor, which did leak as a 7-core configuration not too long ago, which would include an ARM C1 Ultra core hitting 4.11 gigahertz with 4 C1 Pro cores at 3.38 gigahertz and 2 C1 Pro cores at 2.65 gigahertz, which should mean that we will see better performance this year, because we're looking at 4.1 gigahertz on as the peak speed here. But again, Google's not really focused on peak performance, they're focused on AI performance. It'll also still use the PowerVR C series GPU, and that did cause a few issues with some games not working correctly, like in Genshin Impact. Hopefully that'll be fixed for the Pixel 11, but considering it's really the only other phone using a PowerVR GPU at this point, I wouldn't get my hopes up. And Google's also expected to ditch the Samsung modem in the Tensor G5 for a MediaTek in the MediaTek M90 for the Tensor G6, which should help with battery life, because Samsung modems are pretty resource heavy. They use a lot of battery compared to what MediaTek and Qualcomm have. So we should see a nice battery upgrade this year, even though we're only jumping from 4,970 milliamp hours last year to 5,000 this year. Pretty small upgrade, but it is still going up, unlike Samsung. We're still likely going to start with 12 gigabytes of RAM here and 128 gigabytes of storage, though we are hoping to see Google ditch the 128 gigabyte version, just like Samsung did with the S26 series and Apple did with the iPhone 17 series. But given the prices on storage and RAM these days, that might not happen. As far as release date goes, we don't have a specific date just yet, but we are expecting it to launch in August, which is the same time frame as the Pixel 9 and Pixel 10 series. Pixel 9 was announced on August 13th, 2024. Pixel 10 was August 20th, 2025. So we're expecting the Google Pixel 11 to be announced right in between like middle to late August, with it being available about a week, maybe 2 weeks later. As far as the pricing goes, we don't have official pricing. Google probably won't even finalize pricing until a week or two before the announcement. A lot of this comes down to the current market conditions, especially with RAM, flash, and now CPU components rising like crazy for all of these AI servers. But we are hoping that it'll stick to $799 for the Pixel 11 with 128 gigabytes of storage. Though if they do opt to go with 256, we could see the price go up to $899. Even though the Pixel 10 256 is $859, $899 is just a nicer, rounder number for a lot of companies. So this is the Google Pixel 11. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.